For a time, we tried to contact him by radio, but no response.
Yes, y'all. Welcome into your favorite Saturday brunch bunch. Your boys, the Dumb Marks, episode 35. Gentlemen, I just dropped $1,000 in 24 hours on a brand new washing machine. So, by all means, go to our ProWrestlingTees.com store / buy some merch so I can try to make some of that $1,000 back.
It's adulting, right?
Adulting is never fun.
No, it's not. No.
It broke yesterday. Went to Home Depot, went to Lowe's. The guy at Home Depot was like, "Hey, everything's ordered now. It's going to take about 2 weeks." I'm like, "Well, I can't go 2 weeks without a washer." And he's like, "Yo, why don't you go to this little hardware store? They sell appliances." So and so gave us the directions and that, and we went over there, and sure enough, walked in. They had a washer. Dude was like, I can have it dropped off to you tomorrow morning and take the old one away. And I'm like, yo, you guys are awesome.
Yep. Mom and pop stores. Hey.
I didn't feel so bad doing it. You know what I mean? Doing it there. Like, you know, it's rare that you still see those stores around. Like, but the guys were like, yo, we're busy. We do about, 8 to 10 deliveries a day, 6 days a week. So like, their business is good for them. So but by all means, go over to our ProWrestlingTeesStore.com/DumbMarksPod, buy some merch. We're gonna have some announcements here coming up in regards to that. So yeah, that was my week. Ended on a shitty note, but we're here. We're ready to pod. I'm good with the rest of the week. You guys good? Everybody ready to go today?
You've had shittier though, haven't you?
Well,
literally.
Let's not relive the summertime or let's not relive that where my pipes backed up and I literally had shit all over my driveway that I was spraying and cleaning off. So so there's that. Everybody good?
Yep. I would like to thank the No Coast Defenders podcast for letting me on their show on Monday. Got to talk about interesting comic stuff. So thanks to them, Greg. Yeah,
nerding out a little bit. Not wrong with a little nerd out.
Yeah, Greg, Dan, and Tim. You guys were fun. So Greg wants to be on the show one day too because he loves wrestling, beer, sports. So we're going to try to get him on one day.
My side.
Well, speaking of you, Jay, I didn't find your Kevin Durant burning account from last week, but I did see that you were active again. So let's get into philosophy by Jason, right?
What did I say this week?
I said, I think I've made it to the actual act of sex once in my dreams. I've never tasted the food. And let's not talk about the amount of money I've held in my hands. And it's never the alarm. It's my body like, nah, bruh, you having too much fun. This shit ain't real. Wake up. So with that being said, I completely agree with everything you wrote in that statement. There has never been a dream where like you're ready, it's going down, you're like, okay, and then
I
all
thought
of a
it was
sudden,
just me.
no, 100%.
I guess
No doubt
like
about it. Nope. I popped up off the couch this week with a dream. I started walking around the living room. My wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Yo, it was a dream, babe." Like, she's like, "You want to talk about it?" I was like, "No," but it didn't end the way I wanted it to. Like, brother can't even get laid in his dreams. It's unbelievable around here. No, but that's the truth. It don't matter how much fun you're having in a dream or something. Like, yeah, it's always like a garbage truck backing up and beeping that wakes you up, or just, like neighbors fighting, whatever. It's always something. It's never the alarm. 100%. The worst though is when you're in a dream, your alarm does go off, you hit the snooze button, and for those 10 minutes you jump right back into the same dream. Like it never skipped a beat.
You can't continue the good ones though.
No.
Never.
Yeah. So but I found that this week. I figured Philosophy by Jay, I completely agree with you 110% there. So if y'all feel the same way, let us know. Hit us up on socials. We can get into that because dreams are crazy. The stuff you remember, the people that are there, what happens. I got a couple different dream books in the house that I look stuff up. So they often tell you stuff. When you need to be told certain things. So
I don't even want to look at it. All I was gonna say is you're gonna die. That was my luck.
No, none of that. So that's what I wanted to kick off. Kick off and get into this week. So I figured I'd let that start off the pod there. But with that being said, what do you want to get into? There was a lot of stuff this week. I know like the intro is normally somewhat short. I don't know how long we'll go today before we jump into stuff, but there was a lot of stuff this week that happened with the normal stuff that we cover. So where you want to go first?
You want me to start off the gaming like always? We can do that. All right. So I just found out that this week that E3 is actually coming back. It's coming back June 12th in LA, where it normally is. No Sony this year in it again. It's just going to be featuring Microsoft and Nintendo and the game developers themselves. Because Sony always do the state of play, so they figured do their own thing. PlayStation Home from the PS3 may be coming back to the PS5. So if you ever played the PS3 and did the home application on there, just like a interconnected social type thing, where you virtually get with people, meet friends and stuff like that. It was actually pretty fun, but they shut it down for some reasons.
Stranger danger.
Yes, for sure. Sony's also revving up productions for the PS5 to try to beat the scalpers and all that stuff, so they can finally get them in the stores for the people to sell. And also they may redesign the PS5 because of the computer chips little shorter supply they're having from COVID. So they may redesign it. It's still going to be the same powerful system it is, but they're going to probably cut corners on stuff that's not going to affect the system play itself. So maybe like
I was going to say redesign overall, because I'm tired of this damn stand it's on.
They said probably the stand covers might be something that they could cut out and do.
That slim model will be coming at some point. So
they said it's not going to be a PS5 Slim or a PS5 Pro. It's just going to be a redesign of the original system.
Okay.
So it may get redesigned. They're still talking about it. NetherRealm Studios, the company, the developer who makes Mortal Kombat, they actually got the Marvel license, and they're going to make a fighting game now too. So they have the license for DC. Now they got the license for Marvel. So possibly in the future, you can see a Marvel versus DC versus Mortal Kombat game.
I'll be all for that. That takes me back to the old arcades, Marvel versus Capcom, and all that. Like that, I'll keep my eye out for that for sure.
And they said it's only going to be on next gen system, so just Xbox Series X and PS5. It's not going to be for the PS4 or the Xbox One.
Okay, then you're just gonna have to host it.
Yeah. And my final one is Naughty Dog, the developers who make The Last of Us. They came up with a plot outline for The Last of Us Part 3. And they said it's nowhere in development yet. They're still working on the story and everything, but it will come out 7 to 8 years at the end of the PS5 generation. So they normally do that with all the Last of Us games. The first one came out towards the end of the PS3. Last of Us 2 came out the end towards PS4. So this falls right in line with them.
Yeah, the only thing I saw this week was Xbox revealed their games for the Game Pass for May. The only one of note or the only one that I care that I'll probably go in and download is Lego Batman.
That is a fun game. I'm not gonna lie. Those Lego games are
it's just
pretty damn fun.
Yeah, if you just want something just to do for shits and giggles, like go out there. Lego Batman is an enjoyable, fun game for sure. So I'll probably download that. I'm still playing the Show 21. That's where I'm at right now. Playing that, building.
Still hitting them dingers.
Yeah, but I moved over to franchise mode. I'm out there trying to complete complete challenges and unlock my roster and build up to where I can get a squad out there and make a run at the World Series. So
two more things for gaming. Completely forgot. Returnal came out, PS5 exclusive came out yesterday, and the demo for Resident Evil Village comes out for everybody today. So you got 60 minutes to play the Village and the castle parts that the PS5 exclusive people had earlier.
I thought you were going to say you got 60 minutes of me and that's it.
With Resident Evil coming out, the official next Friday is when the Village officially comes out for everybody.
Hey, you brought up Mortal Kombat. Everybody here watch Mortal Kombat?
I didn't finish it.
So just some news. Some news since the movie's been out. The character that plays Sub-Zero, the actor that plays Sub-Zero, he's signed on for 3 more movies. So the way that it's potentially going to have multiple sequels. However, the director came out and said that, if they were to make more, it's strictly up to the fans and how well this one does. So I know there was a lot to be desired with this one. Again, it depends on your expectations, what you had going into it. I enjoyed it for what it was. The storyline was a little wonky at times. The dialogue was a little cringy at times. But there's definitely ways that they can go with it. Obviously, they have the amount of characters that they can do multiple movies with. So I just found it interesting that Sub-Zero signed on for 3 more movies, for sure. So, but it depends on how well this does and whether or not fans want to see sequels. So,
those 2 were the show in Kano.
I like the movie from the action point of view. I hated the story. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing that threw me off was I'm watching it with my son and everything else, and it goes off, and I'm like, the main dude Cole. I'm like, I don't remember him from any of the Mortal Kombats. Like, and it was like, oh no, he's not. He was just new for the movie. He's not an actual Mortal Kombat character. So it's like
he'll be a DLC soon.
Yeah,
It reminds me of Alice in the Resident Evil movies. Like just a completely new character just thrown into that that whole franchise and everything. It made no sense at all when they had all these characters.
I didn't mind how the movie started out with the story wise. Like I'm like, okay, this is different. Like I like where we're going. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But as it got further into the movie, I'm like, oh, they could have did this way better with how with the story they told. Like,
but the action,
the fighting,
great. The fighting was great.
The fatalities, like I know there was one fatality that they took out because it was too gruesome, and I'm like, yo, how? Like,
which one was too gruesome? Because the one
I was gonna say, Kung Lao's with the helmet or with the hat where it's split dude in half. I'm like, okay, if they put that in a movie, like, which are they taking out? But yeah. It was what it was. So yeah, we'll see if more Mortal Kombats come out. But that's all I have from that standpoint. With there, and then one snack news, Jason. I saw this. Pepsi Blue is back out for a limited time.
I need them to bring Clear back.
Pepsi Clear was trash.
Come on.
That shit was so trash. It's so garbage. It was garbage.
I remember back in 4th or 5th grade when we tried to pass it off as water, And the
Yeah,
teacher was
pass
like,
off
no,
water.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
no, that's not working.
That don't work here.
I didn't see that. I saw that they were coming out with that, Jay, the smart pop or the smart food, the Krispy Kreme, but yeah, that's gonna be a pass for me. I can't do that.
You might hear the rustling throughout the.
Oh yeah, we all for 100%. We'll
How
hear
is
that? So
I didn't eat them yet. I didn't taste them yet.
Oh,
Go ahead, live.
live reaction.
I mean, it's smart pop, so
Gosh.
I'm not a fan of smart pop, but the flavors.
And then, so what do you just want to get into Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I do quick snack things too. Lay's is coming out with potato chips that are going to be dusted in Doritos Cool Ranch flavoring.
I saw Cheetos one
I saw
too.
Cheetos also. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
All
then
owned by the same company.
yeah. And then Goldfish announced this week they're going to come out with a Frank's Red Hot flavor.
I did see that.
Nah, I'll pass.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I had to babysit this weekend, and I left my phone in my sister's car for 3 hours. I had to babysit, so I'm like, where's my phone? I'm pacing, walking back and forth, and I was down with my sister, so I went to check and see if it was back at my house. So I took him down there, and I used to live above. My brother used to live above me, so he comes in and he automatically goes into my brother's apartment. I'm like, no, we're going here. So I opened the door, and he was like, "What's this?" That's how often he's been there. What's this? So he walks in, and first thing he grabs, he's like, "Uncle Scott, I like these. These taste yum." Ignore. Uncle Scar. Ignore. No. You see, they're still unopened.
You can't. That's a raw deal. How you not gonna give little man peach rings?
No. That's like when I bring my other nieces and nephew over, they see all like the Superman and wrestling figures. Nah, gotta go. Get out. You touch your box, get out of here. Nah. My place is off limits.
That's shit. I just know for a fact that if I got little, well, most of my nieces and nephews are all grown now, but back in the day when they were younger, it wasn't even a question. Like they were just getting it. I had no choice in the matter. So,
we're at their house. It's snack all day. Snack all day. Yep. Uh-huh.
No, they come through. They run through everything. Like it was gone. So,
Jason doesn't share peach rings.
No. Oh, no.
I can see that.
Oh no, we know that firsthand.
So yeah, anybody got anything else from Fat Kid World with snacks and that?
I'm good.
All right, Falcon and Winter Soldier. We told y'all last week we give it one more week. Apparently, there's been a ton of news about it and articles written and stuff come out. So,
other people doing podcasts.
Yeah, yeah. Donald went on podcast. Jumping ship.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. I mean, hey, listen. You're not the first person to come on our podcast to get on another podcast that they were not on anymore. So,
trying to get over by himself.
got over by himself. It's cool. We're trying to promote the brand out here, and you're talking about ad, so it's all right. What'd you guys think? Falcon and Winter Soldier, the second series to be released on Disney Plus. WandaVision was a huge success. Going into it, I wasn't going to hold it to the same standard as WandaVision because of the way WandaVision was presented and shot and story and everything else. But as far as keeping continuity with where we're at post blip and all the stuff that happened in Infinity War and Endgame, it's just adding on to the timeline, getting us ready to get into Phase 4 for Marvel. Mm-hmm. So, what'd you guys think overall? Highlights, lowlights. And then I got some stuff that has come out since then to talk about as well.
My favorite MCU movie is Winter Soldier, and this felt like just a straight continuation of that. Which I loved. It just continued that universe and in it more, and loved the characters, seeing, especially for Falcon and Winter Soldier, getting more in depth of those characters. I loved.
Yeah, it was definitely nice to see, from the start of the show. They said coming into it, as you watch it, it really is a long movie just chopped up into hour episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel that's the way that it was. Like that could have been a standalone movie.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
Absolutely.
it wouldn't have been 5.5, 6 hours long to get in depth. So there would have been some stuff cut out. But the way that it was shot and told, I definitely got that vibe from it as I watched the series unfold. That it could have been its own movie for sure.
The thing I like is going through. You didn't know who was going to do what.
Yeah.
It was like mystery around everybody. Like, who is the bad guy?
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing. Like, was there really a true villain in this series? Because if you look at it, Zemo, even though he did the stuff that he did, he was justified based on the actions and what happened to him. Carly and the Flag Smashers is the same thing.
She wasn't necessarily a villain, but
she wasn't necessarily a villain, but
fighting for a cause.
For a cause. And I thought one of the biggest things that stood out to me was how political and how social issues were covered in the series itself.
Very, very heavily influenced in the series.
Very heavily influenced, and we said this before on the pod. Just like comics, comics cover and tackle all those things. And Stan Lee has been on record multiple times. The majority of the characters he created were based off of social issues and other issues, mental health. Like he's tackled those things and has written stories upon stories based off of those things. So this series did a lot of that, and some people I saw was, it's too political, and I thought it was done excellent. I really did. That could they have done a little bit more with certain things? Yeah, but I thought for what they did, what they covered, how they covered it, and how it tied into real life in today's world, I thought it was done masterfully.
Yeah, it was done it was definitely done at the right time, especially Sam's speech at the end. Where you, like I said, you could take bits and pieces, like parts out of that speech, and insert them with different parts of like from the world today, and it will sound exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, even Carly's fight and being displaced, and everything else, and that deals with immigration and everything else that's gone on. And then even the whole race and black and white and everything else with Isaiah and the story that they told with him, and like I'm not like they got me at the end. I'm not gonna lie, they got me at the end. Little choked up, little teary eyed at the end there when he's walking through the museum and sees the statue of himself and his story being told that will be there forever. So like, nicely done. I love the way they ended it with changing it from the Falcon and Winter Soldier to Captain America and Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. So, Sam is moving into being Captain America. And, with that,
they said this week too, they almost changed it to Captain America and White Wolf, because they said they came out afterwards and said, Bucky is no longer Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. This series has moved on from that. And
he's about to cool out now.
They're just not sure if they're going to just refer to him as Bucky or if they're going to make him White Wolf now.
White Wolf
moving forward. So
I would like for his close friends to call him Bucky. People from the Avengers and that stuff. But like as his superhero title, White Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, even
what they call him at one point, White Panther, and he goes, it's actually White Wolf.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, you're in Wakanda for a little bit, and now all of a sudden you're White Panther, like, no, White Wolf." No, but I mean, even his backstory and the roller coaster that he went through over the 6 episodes was good. Like I said, it was just well done. You have a lot of things that happened, especially the last 2 episodes, that can springboard a lot of things moving forward, which I'll touch on here in a minute. But Sharon Carter being the power broker, is she really the power broker though? or was she talking to the power broker? Or the ending credit scenes, is that even really Sharon Carter, or is that a scroll that's leading up to Secret Invasions? Because we got the scrolls in at the end of WandaVision. That seed's been planted already. So it'll just be interesting to see if that unfolds the way that it does, moving forward. But yeah, I mean, just well done all the way across the board. Made you hate certain people at times, like others at times. Like at first I was like, all right, not that I dislike the Flag Smashers, but I'm like, I'm not rooting for them, But by the end of the show, it's like I completely understand the cause and what they're trying to do and everything else. So yeah, I mean, it was just well done all across the board.
Yeah, I know Donald wasn't a big fan of Sharon Carter's little turn there at the end, but I liked it in the sense of it teased that there's more coming. Like that's why I liked it. It's just, and I thought, I was like, okay, maybe this is the show we're gonna get a season 2 out of. But then they came out like the next day and said we're getting another movie. So it's just like cool. It's like great. I was like, I like the story. I definitely want to see it continue because I think there was so much in this. Even though they did 6-hour episodes, there's still so much more that can be told. And
there was
unknown.
There was a part in the comics where Sharon Carter actually was like brainwashed and hypnotized and that stuff. So if they could play off of that into the, the
like
MCU
I said, they can play with that. Or like I said, if they're gonna, run this Secret Invasion with the Skrulls taking over and being all your Avengers and main characters, and they've infiltrated all these areas as these people, that can set up that moving forward. So yeah, Marvel did announce that Falcon and Winter Soldier Assembled episode is out with a new trailer as well. So look forward to that on Disney Plus. The WandaVision Assembled was good there. We are getting, allegedly, we're getting Sam as Captain America movie by himself. So he'll be in the new Captain America movie. Him as Captain America.
And the suit was on point too. It was on point with the comics for sure.
I kind of felt like, now that we were up until this series, we weren't sure what was going on with Cap. And, now with Iron Man not around, I kind of felt like Sam's kind of taking that place with that suit. He's Cap and he's a little bit Iron Man too. So it's like, kind of gives you like a little bit of both for. There was
one shot in the last episode with him in the suit, and it was like from behind, and the way the suit like came up on his neck and like wrapped around his head, he looked like the I don't want to say it, I forget his name. The Mr. Chill or whatever from The Incredibles. Frozo, yeah. From the back, I was like, "Oh, is that Frozo?" Yeah. But, yeah.
I mean, it's same universe, right? With Marvel and Disney.
Hey, crossover.
Yeah.
Speaking of crossover, I saw an article on Screen Rant, and it said how U.S. Agent, which is John Walker, who played Captain America in the show, and White Vision sets up Hawkeye's Avengers team. So Hawkeye will be coming out later on.
Yeah, he's after Loki, right?
Yeah, after Loki. So it was an interesting read to run through. With that, there were some set photos that leaked of him with his new outfit and that. So it'll tie back into how he looks in the comics from everything that I saw.
I know Hawkeye was the leader of the West Coast Avengers in the comics.
Yeah, so that's where we're going with that, with White Vision and U.S. Agent. And then Elaine from Seinfeld, Julia
Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
I didn't even need that character.
No,
the setup.
The setup. It's the setup. So yeah, it's a setup. And there was an interview this week. She is going to be in Phase 4 moving forward. So it's not just a character for the show itself. She wanted to be added in, and she's all in full bore. I like her character. I definitely am curious to see the spinoff and where that goes and where that leads. If it's going to go into her being Miss Hydra and whatever, or if it'll be something else. So
one of the articles I read about her character this week said that she was supposed to debut in Black Widow.
Correct.
So now I don't know if that means that she is in there, and we'll just see more of her in Black Widow, or if that meant that her debut was supposed to be in that movie, but they switched it to this. So I'm kind of.
I think they switched it to this because Black Widow kept getting delayed.
Okay.
And it was pushed back so many times that they just put her in this, and then if she's in Black Widow, everybody knows her from watching this. Don't know if she'll be in Black Widow or if they'll take her out completely. So if because Black Widow takes place years before this, before the timeline right now. So if it is, then we'll know a little bit more about her. I think that'll be good to develop the character. Yeah, Black Widow's between Civil War and Infinity War?
I thought it was before that.
Is it after Age of Ultron?
Is it after?
Maybe.
I thought it was before that.
Avenger?
Yeah, you're supposed to get her backstory, but then I guess whatever the big fight is supposed to be her and Hawkeye in Budapest.
Yeah,
we're supposed to learn about that in this. Okay. So wherever that fell, but it's supposed to be sometime in the MCU universe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm almost positive it takes place between. I want to say it's either Civil War or Winter Soldier and Infinity War.
Okay.
But you'll get her backstory a part of it, but the main thread of the movie is it's supposed to take place in that time frame in between those years there. So yeah, but kudos to them. They're two series out, and they've hit home runs with both series. So Loki's the next big one to drop, which will be in June. So we got a month to wait on that, and I have all the faith in the world that they'll go through and do that. So they're not gonna hit a home run with everything. I know Donald's not looking forward to Loki because of the whole time travel stuff, but I believe it's necessary given where they're going in phase 4 with the quantum realm and the multiverse of madness and everything else that you're going to have timelines exposed, and this will give storyline into how all that is affected and so on and so forth. So
because I think the next Ant-Man movie is all going to be about the quantum realm. So it's you're not getting rid of time travel anytime soon.
No, they opened Pandora's box, so
yeah,
can't close it now.
Yeah, so there's that. And then one other note, not having to do with Falcon and Winter Soldier, but another huge show that is very popular here, at least between me and Chris, Cobra Kai on Netflix. Season 4 wrapped up filming on Thursday. Ooh. So that rumor that we're going to get it later on this year at the end of the year, probably sometime in December. I think, Jay, you brought it up on the pod last week. That looks to be in the works and on schedule. So, yeah, they wrapped up Thursday.
Someone's birthday is on a Friday. So, I mean, that sounds like a good time to launch it.
Yeah, John Martin Cove, who plays John Kreese, he tweeted out on Thursday that that Cobra Kai officially wrapped, and what a season! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! So I can't
Jennifer Garner.
I can't wait. That's the rumor. That is the rumor that she's.
I hadn't heard that.
She will be back and will be playing Tori's mom. So that's the rumor.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, that's don't want to take away from all the surprises, but that's what's rumored to be the case. Which would make sense, obviously
wrap up everything
to tie in, everything. But yeah, we'll see.
Team Tory.
Team Tori.
Let's go, girl.
Nah.
Wait, did you say Jennifer Gardner?
Isn't that who it was? Alias?
No, that was what's her name?
Hillary
Swank from
Hillary
Million
Scott.
Dollar
Right,
Million
not
Dollar
Gardner,
Baby.
yeah.
Mhm.
Same difference.
I heard that one. I heard that would make sense. Connect the movies together.
And there goes our name, the Dumb Marks.
Exactly.
All right, that's it for the intro. We're 35 minutes in. Anybody got anything else before we hop on over to Bell to Bell this week?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, welcome to this week's edition of Bell to Bell. A lot of stuff happening this week in professional wrestling. Steve, you said you wanted to take us somewhere first, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, I figured just, given the coming off the heels of Impact Rebellion on Sunday night, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen this week with different announcements and rumors and everything else, I figured this would be a good discussion to get into instead of just running through the typical breakdown of shows during the week that we normally do. We can definitely go back in later on and touch on stuff, but to kick it off, I figured we get into a little discussion instead. Meltzer tweeted out in regards to Rebellion itself as a pay-per-view. One cable company or one pay-per-view company service gave him a report, and it was the 8th biggest pay-per-view as far as buys go since August, and had 9 times the number of buys as Bound for Glory for Impact.
But I've also heard that it's not as many buys as what TNA used to do.
Yeah, so take that for what you will. But that, given that, and obviously with Kenny Omega winning, the Impact Heavyweight Championship, there was references to that on Dynamite this week. Impact itself, watching the show on Thursday night, El Phantasmo from the Bullet Club will be appearing on Impact next week. You still have Finjuice from New Japan over, so Impact and New Japan's relationship is going strong. MLW is rumored to be working with NXT. That announcement hasn't made official yet, but NXT talent that is not getting TV time but is ready for TV will be going to MLW to work MLW, so they do have TV time. Whether or not MLW stars move over to NXT, that is yet to be determined, but rumor-wise is that they're going to be entering into a working relationship with NXT talent coming over to MLW TV.
That's pretty interesting.
And then the only thing that I saw that's negative, and not even a negative, but ROH and CMLL ended their working relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So with that all being said, and with WWE hopping into the game of working with partners with MLW, similar to what they did with Evolve, and ECW back in the day, was sending talent to ECW. Like when you had Al Snow and so on and so forth that were WWE contracts, but they were working in ECW. What do you guys think? We're a couple months into this Forbidden Door being kicked open. New landscape, new scope, promotions working with promotions. It's slowly unfolding. We're starting to see more talent appear on different shows right now. But how do you guys feel this has gone so far? Do you think it's been beneficial to the companies that are working together? Where do you think it'll go moving forward? And just overall, what your takes are, because it is an interesting time in wrestling that we haven't seen before.
Anybody want to go?
I like that talent's moving around in it. It gives more exposure to wrestlers that's normally not on TV, and to the world. So like Japan people coming over to the U.S. getting exposure in the U.S. U.S. talent going over to Japan. Getting like that. Thing that I'm concerned about is like we were saying last week with Impact. It seemed like Impact's not getting any benefit from this at all, like on their show. Now their title is gone. their tag titles are gone from them, even though they probably appear on the show. There's nobody from Impact on the roster that has their titles, and I'm very hingedly on the whole Omega, collector, the belts and all that stuff.
So as far as Impact goes, they did their tapings Monday, their TV tapings Monday after the pay-per-view. Tommy Dreamer was on Busted Open Monday with Bully Ray breaking everything down from the pay-per-view and his thoughts on the working relationship and how it's going and where he sees it going and everything else. And Tommy says, look, even though, I've been in Impact for years now, and I am involved to a certain extent, he goes, I'm not involved to that extent. So I don't know. I see it as it unfolds, just like you guys do. So apparently they've been, kayfabing the wrestlers as far as plans and who's going to show up and what's going to be done. Omega appeared on the show Thursday night, so he did work these set of TV tapings for them for the 2 months that they tape at a time. When they go there, Finjuice was there on Thursday night, so they did the TV tapings as well. So we'll see how that unfolds. Like I said, they ran a vignette for El Phantasmo, so we got Bullet Club coming over. So there's a lot going on. I agree that Impact has to get more out of this than what they have so far. From their standpoint with regards to the working relationships. New Japan being on their TV is great for exposure in the US. Kenny Omega on their TV has added, viewers, although Thursday night, I think it topped off at around 5,600 on Twitch, which is kind of around where they were at even before Omega was on the show. So it's nowhere near that 50,000 that were on Twitch right after the title was won on Impact or on Dynamite, and they got out and it was revealed that he'll be heading to Impact with Callis. So I don't know where it goes, honestly. There's some fascinating matchups that I'd like to see given the promotions that are working together. But we can fantasy book those all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'd probably say most of the fantasy matches that we would want to see probably won't happen either. Yeah, I think it's one of my main concerns with the whole Impact relationship is right now, and we'll just say that right at this moment, I don't see anybody strong enough that they have to beat Kenny Omega.
So the thing with Impact is their roster is limited, okay, to begin with, as far as total number of wrestlers, and you can see that based off of matchups and stories and who's involved in that. They do a lot with the roster that they have as far as different storylines and working people with different people and keeping people separated until it's necessary to put them, in a feud together. So they have done that to a very good extent. But as Tommy said, there were a lot of wrestlers that came out of Rebellion banged up and hurt. Rich Swann apparently had a neck injury, and haven't heard anything else about that moving forward. So yeah, we'll see what their TV tapings look like and who's on the show and who's not, based off of the injuries coming out of the pay-per-view itself. But
yeah.
I don't, like you said, it's somebody, people from Impact got to be elevated in this to get them to have bigger stars than what they do just from them being on their roster themselves. Like this relationship could be very beneficial for somebody like Ace Austin, that you could bump him up and make him into a true main event talent, because he has the ability in the ring. He can talk on the mic. His character is down pat. So like you can have him elevated up through this depending on who he works and how he's put over in matches and storylines. So that gives you another main event person.
I was thinking about the other day, the only way I see someone taking this title off of Kenny is if they would do an Ultimate X or a King of the Mountain or a Snap. Yeah. Because I mean, TNA's done the Ultimate X for X Division matches. They've done the King of the Mountain for the heavyweight. That right now is the only way I can possibly see there being someone taking the title off of Kenny, is that there's, say, 6 people in the match and you can distract them to the point while someone else can get the title. A one-on-one match for someone to be like the Impact guy going over, I don't think they have that at the moment. And who knows how long Kenny's going to hold the title. This could be months and months down the road before they take it off of him. But if they would decide to do it, say at Slammiversary, I don't have any faith in anybody.
Do you think Kenny is the guy to be able to elevate talent across different promotions that they're working with? Like, do you think he has the ability to do that? And the reason why I asked that is because Daniel Bryan gave an interview this week, and he said in regards to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, but specifically Omega, he said he looks at wrestling differently than anybody else. With Kenny Omega, there's no previous evolution point. And that comment, with the Young Bucks, he said you could see the Rockers, you could see the Hardy Boys. Like there was a jumping off point for the Young Bucks based off of previous people that came before them. And he's saying with Kenny Omega, there's no previous evolution point. Kenny Omega is one of one. And it's just completely new things that have entered his head, and he's daring to try all of them. That's kind of high praise coming from somebody that's, looked upon as one of the best in the business. From a technical aspect of wrestling, wrestling purist standpoint.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say Kenny Omega is one of one. I would put
Daniel Bryan is.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, I think that's a great quote and great praise for Kenny Omega and for Daniel Bryan to put him over like that. But I would actually put Kenny more in a Daniel Bryan mold, with technical wrestlers.
So Bryan's been rumored to trying to be able to work other promotions while working WWE. And
I saw that.
In this interview, him talking specifically about Omega and the Young Bucks, it's odd. And again, this is just a time we're in wrestling. It's odd to hear WWE guys talking about people in other promotions.
Yeah.
We've never heard that before with interviews. I know you had Jericho on Stone Cold's podcast and on the Broken Skull sessions, and that was what it was. And it was a very good sit down and interview. And they did talk a lot about AEW and his time there and everything else. So I just feel like it's this ball has just yet to start at the top of the mountain. It's nowhere near into like the full avalanche that it could potentially turn into. So yeah,
that would be huge if Daniel will be able to do that, because he knows the indie circuits are like that. And then how much people will look at WWE and be like, oh, they're finally coming to play. They just don't have this facade up like it's just us.
Yeah, and I mean, so like there's that. Dynamite had the announcement this week, and on 2 weeks you got Moxley versus Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata for the IWGP United States title. So that belt's being defended on Dynamite. That's crazy. You never would have thought that before. You know what I mean? So we said this whenever it first happened. This is going to be something that's going to be a long journey. It's not just going to be something that's going to floodgates open everywhere, and it's going to be instantaneous satisfaction with people hopping from promotion to promotion, and that it's going to be a slow burn, and it's going to roll out as it unfolds. But I think up to this point, it's definitely been stuff that has gotten the wrestling world talking, regardless of whether you think it's right or not. But I mean, Dynamite, as soon as that graphic went up for him and Nagata, Twitter blew up with that announcement. And that's a big announcement. Nagata, dude, is one of the best wrestlers there is. Hell, I remember watching him on Nitro back in the day on WCW.
And for the AEW New Japan relationship of putting the title on AEW.
Right, putting the title on the line on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like
even if he would have defended it against somebody in AEW, that would have just been huge news about the title match. But to actually defend it against somebody from New Japan, just
right,
was amazing.
Yeah,
you brought up Ring of Honor earlier too, and I don't know if you saw this week, Roosh from Ring of Honor, he has started his own promotion down in Mexico called Federación Wrestling, and there's going to be a lot of people go. Now, granted, in the U.S. contracts or something, but down in Mexico, they're completely different. There's going to be a lot of Ring of Honor, a lot of AEW talent going down there. Andrade, he signed on to work for them. Lucha Brothers are going to be down there. Red Velvet, Ty Conte, PJ Black, he's going to be down there. So there's some talent that has potential for it. It looks like they're going to start their first event in end of June.
Yeah, and Andrade is wrestling Alberto Del Rio in July.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that announcement this week. That came out.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
That man was free.
I don't know if it's for Russia's promotion. And I thought I bookmarked that, but I didn't as I'm scrolling through here. But yeah, that announcement was made.
So I'm talking about Paige this week, but that's all I saw.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, first time ever match Andrade versus Alberto Del Rio. So yeah, I just like I said, from the beginning I said I was strapped in for the ride and I was gonna go wherever it goes and be excited for what could possibly come out of it as far as matchups and people working together and keeping talent hot in different places and bringing new guys in, elevating guys up the cards. So as long as you can, like going back to Omega, is he the guy to elevate people? If we're going back to the territory days when you had Flair go around as the champion for NWA, he go into every territory, work the baby faces, elevate them up while he was there. He'd leave, and then they would be the top guy in the company. Whether or not Omega can do that, or if that's even the way that they're going about this, who knows? But don't know if he can be that guy to do the same thing that Flair did whenever he had the NWA title and work in the different territories.
I wonder I know AEW been around for, a bit now. I wonder, do the U.S. population still know him, like wrestling population?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was crazy this week was the amount of Ric Flair, John Cena, and I forget who else, WWE wise, that were in commercials being ran during Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be like conspiracy theory, black hole hopping in and really getting into the weeds. Like, oh, they're running these ads because like,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sure there are Reddit posts out there with that stuff, but it was just curious. Like, it was just one of those things as I was watching the show Wednesday night, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of, Flair and Cena and I forget who else was on there. But you saw the commercials run, more than one time during the show on Dynamite. So,
oh yeah, Flair has like 20 different car show commercials out there right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was just like I said, based off of what happened with Rebellion and coming out of it and everything else, and the announcements throughout the week. Like I said, with MLW starting a working relationship with NXT and New Japan working with AEW and Impact, just an interesting spot to kick off the segment this week. So
yeah,
I don't know if you guys got any other thoughts or feelings on it.
Before we go into anything else with wrestling, another topic that I saw something about this week, kind of subject was brought up, with Mickie James this week, talking about Women's Evolution 2, why it never happened, that she wanted to do a brand, and Mick Foley tweeted something out yesterday directly to Vince McMahon saying an all-women brand needs to happen in WWE unless you want AEW to beat you to the punch. And I started thinking, it's just like I could see Vince doing another one at some point. I don't know how far down the road that'll happen. But I thought, if we would see something from AEW, I think I would prefer to see it not so much just AEW, but maybe like an all-in 2, but this time all women.
So did you see a couple things on this point here? One, did you read the quotes or listen to the interview, not interview, but podcast, where Mickie James told the story about Evolution 2 and pitching and all women's brand from her?
Yeah.
And higher up, she didn't specifically name the higher up that told her, hey, women's wrestling doesn't draw money, and it was the lowest WWE pay-per-view as far as buys go ever. So there's that standpoint from her, so coming directly from the source itself. Mick Foley did tweet that out, like you said, and then two people that responded that I found interesting. One was Maria Kanellis tweeted to Mick, hey, ROH is already doing it. Tune in Wednesday night on YouTube, and you can start to see the build to the all-women's tournament that'll be taking place later on in July. And then Lance Storm tweeted back to Mick Foley and brought up 2 points. One, Lance Storm, and I didn't save off the tweet directly, so I can't specifically quote tweet him as far as what he said. But basically, to sum it up, was that, do you think an all women's brand hurts the other shows that are already out there? So you wouldn't have a Raw Women's Champion, you wouldn't have a SmackDown Women's Champion. Is the women's tag team champions, like Lance basically said, if you do an all women's brand, it's not gonna work, because it's gonna hurt both the main shows that already exist, and he doesn't think that the women's brand by itself would be strong enough to hold up based off of the talent.
My thing is, didn't they fight to become equals? Didn't they fight to become superstars? Mm-hmm. Why you want to separate them to their own separate thing?
That's what he was also getting at too. Like, why are you taking them away and separating them out whenever they should all be superstars? Is your point, Jay, with that? Mm-hmm. But are they being booked as superstars, or is it still men and women? Like, my thing is, with the whole Divas evolution into the women's evolution, into the one-off all women's pay-per-view by itself, since that point, which it was the hot topic at the time because of the Me Too movement and everything else that was going on socially. If you're not a champion, it's rare that you get more than one women's storyline going on both shows.
Very true.
Yeah.
Carmella's been vocal recently about getting more women on the show. Natty was backstage fighting to get more women on WrestleMania because it was literally just going to be Asuka and Rhea and Banks and Bianca. That was it. Plans changed based off of voices raised and fans, as well as women superstars fighting to get more women on the card, which is how we ended up with the stuff with the women's tag match. But yeah, it hasn't been booked equally since that time. And WWE's good at doing that, where they'll focus on something for a given moment just because it is the hot issue and make it seem like they're out there sticking their chest out. Look at us, we're standard bearers, we're groundbreakers, we're doing a women's evolution where our women are equal, and then it's like gone and forgotten about, and you only did it because of how topical it was at the time.
And at that event, nothing to take away from previous generation, but the divas were heavily focused in that event. You had Nikki Bella in the main event. You had church wrestling in there. So it wasn't so much at here's the women's evolution now. It was, okay, we're bringing back past and present. I think if they would do a straight, here's the talent we have now, here's what they can do, I think it would be a stronger event.
You'd have to add NXT.
I'm okay with that.
You'd have to.
Oh, yeah. If you're doing if you're going to do an all women's brand, then put it in the hands of Triple H and let TJ Wilson, who's been praised across the board for everything that he's done as far as producing the women's matches and all the work he's done with the women and everything else, and that he's gotten his flowers, so to speak, over the past couple of weeks since WrestleMania. Let him produce the matches for the women. Let Triple H and crew from NXT book it, because I have way more faith in them booking a brand in a show than I do Vince or Bruce Pritchard or anybody else that's doing writing from the main roster standpoint, and let them give it a go. But I completely agree that you would include the women from NXT.
Yeah.
And if you add the women from NXT plus the main roster in that, like, you could have the potential for a really strong show up and down the card, given the amount of talent that they have.
Yeah,
100% agree. NXT has the most women's storylines on it going on at one point in time than any show I can remember right now.
Combined.
Yeah. Top to bottom, throughout the show, different storylines. And it's not just heavyweight titles, it's your lower card women too that are being weaved in and being put on prominent segments, like that crossover segment from 8 to 9 o'clock. That's been like a Zoe Stark home zone for like the past month and a half. So yeah, it could be done. Will they do it? No. Are they ever going to do it? No. Why are we talking about it? Because it's something to talk about that came out this week that's interesting, and that it's good fodder on the podcast. But
they should definitely do another pay-per-view for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they've talked about doing the brand. I remember whenever they were even teasing it whenever the ECW brand came back. They were even talking about maybe spinning, instead of NXT, spinning that off to a women's brand. So, yeah, it's been talked about for over a decade now. But I'd be surprised if it actually ever would happen. I agree.
And especially with Ronda being gone, because
Yeah,
that's the
I
reason.
don't think it would be something Vince would want to do it, but maybe the next generation actually takes a stab at it. And I'd be okay if they just did one pay-per-view a year. It doesn't even have to be a full pay-per-view, just a special.
Take out one of their dumb pay-per-views they do in the middle of the Big Four.
Yeah.
And just give it to the women.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so all right. Shows this week. What you guys? We don't have to run through every show this week, because we're already 35-40 minutes into this segment. What you guys feel? What stood out to you across the board this week? Any takeaways that you guys saw that you want to talk about?
I really enjoyed whatever it was called, Impact's
Rebellion.
Yeah, Rebellion. I really enjoyed the wrestling guys.
that show that was on the other night.
The one that
wasn't WWE.
Yeah, no, I said it, during our Impact breakdown, and I said it on the pod Saturday. Like, if you don't watch Impact Wrestling, tune into the card, because it's going to be a really good card, and there will be people on there that'll catch your eye that you'll want to tune in and watch.
I'm not a fan of like the promos and the acting, but the in-ring work, I enjoy it.
They have some people, obviously, just like any other brand, that are stronger on the mic than others, and you know what I mean? But from bell to bell, Impact has some of the best matches going from any promotion across the board from bell to bell.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good talent. A lot of talent has a lot of good chemistry with each other, and it shows in the ring.
One thing I don't like is they had it's still the ring. When they had that 6-man tag with all the big boys, Violent by Design or whatever, and it was like was like no space.
Yeah, they do have the smaller ring. They don't have the 20 by 20 the WWE has. So yeah, and that's also the way that it's shot too. Like it looks smaller
small.
because the hard camera is dead
small,
center and the ramp's behind it. So like it does when you have 8 men in there, or it definitely seems smaller than what it is. But no, like I said, it did what I thought it was going into it as far as match quality wise. Omega and Swan was terrific. I said work weight wise, don't sleep on Rich Swan because he has had some of his best matches since he's won the belt, and he showed up and showed out during that match. The triple threat match with Josh Alexander winning and going over was a great match.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hey, hats off to them. Their Impact should have been dead years ago, from a company standpoint, and they're still around. They're still kicking. They're still doing what they're doing. They have people down there that can become stars, and they just got to be able to get eyes on their product. And I think that was one of their biggest things as to why they agreed to work with AEW and New Japan, was to get eyes on their product. Notice how all these people have been going to their show. It's to get eyes on their product. So yeah, but no, I agree. It was a strong match from bell to bell. Was every match a home run? No, but work weight wise, I would agree it was a good show.
A couple of things that we discussed on the prediction show last week. One, we thought that Emma should have won the title, and it didn't happen. So where does she go from here, Neil Dashwood?
NXT.
Listen, I know
her. She has to be on at least the second hand of counting her title opportunities now, and
I know. I know we said we thought, just given everything that she's gone through and where she's at and everything else, that if now wasn't the time, then when. But on the flip side of that coin, what we also talked about, is that Deonna has been
on a tear,
lights out.
Yeah.
So it's like, why stop it? If it's not broke, don't fix it type of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And until you have somebody that you truly want to put it on that can run with it and be as good as she has been, let her run with the belt. Like, so,
do you think Tenille will ever get a shot? Because she's never held a major title anywhere. Like, if you look at her championship reign, it's very, very minimal.
And what's
Does
funny,
that say something about her? Or
what's funny, you bring that up. I listened to Paige on Renee Young's Oral Sessions podcast last week, or it might have been this week. I don't know. My weeks run together, but they were talking about Paige's debut on Raw and winning the Divas title. Paige told the story. She actually got cleared that day and went out and won the belt. And Hunter was like, "Can you do A, B, C, D, E?" And Paige was like, "Yeah, I can do A, B, C, D, E." He was like, "All right, good. Go out there, do A, B, C, D, E, and you're winning the belt tonight." Paige said if she wasn't cleared, that Emma would have been put in that spot.
Okay.
So I think she's been thought of as a main woman that could win a championship. Why nobody has pulled the trigger on her, I don't know. I mean, I know she came into ROH and at that time the women were still around. They went away, but now they're coming back as far as a division. Yeah. But she ran into all her health issues.
Yeah, and same with Impact.
Yeah,
she was there before.
In Impact, she's been start-stop with that too. But you look at the people that have held the belt in Impact since kind of she's been in there on and off. I mean, you had Taya, who had her historic run as far as the longest Impact Knockouts champion. Deonna now, like, you've had people that have been, standard setters as far as reigns with the championship that have been so hot. It's like, why take the belt off them? So I don't know if it's so much a knock on her. It's just kind of bad luck when her opportunities have come up as far as who she's gone in the ring with, and booking wise, it just hasn't made sense to take it off the person that she's gone up to face.
No. But on the flip side, Jordan Grace finally got her opportunity with the women's tag titles. Her and Rachel Ellering are the new Impact Knockouts Tag Team champions. So
yeah, I thought Tasha Stills killed herself.
Yeah,
that bump was nasty. Oh, I don't know.
There was a few bumps on Sunday night that I thought people were pretty into.
I said Dreamer said there were a lot of people that got banged up on that card. They definitely went out there, and it was a physical, hard-hitting pay-per-view as far as talent going out there and laying their shit in. So a lot of people were banged up, but yeah, I mean, Impact was good. Great pay-per-view on Sunday. The show Thursday night was good. It was really good follow-up, led into the next storyline on how they're going to crown a number one contender for Omega's championship, which will be defended at Under Siege in a couple weeks, May 15th, I believe.
2 weeks, yeah.
Will be an Impact special, so that should be on Impact Plus, like they did with Hardcore Justice and the other ones that they do. So yeah, I mean, the ball's rolling. There's different stories. They've planted different seeds with possible people to win. There was no finish in the main event on Thursday night because Omega and the Good Brothers came out. So, we'll see if Sammy or Eddie Edwards gets put into the 6-man match to crown the number one contender. But I'm good with where Impact's at right now and see how it unfolds.
What they do? They what was the match they announced? Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Eddie and Finjuice for Under Siege, I think. So yeah, Eddie won't get put in the 6-man, but at least he'll have some retribution at that event.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, I'm good with Impact. Like I said, it's been solid. Otherwise, this week, WWE. I watched NXT Tuesday night. I know they lost about 100,000 people as far as viewership goes Tuesday night, from where they had been the previous 2 weeks. I just thought it was just like a steady line throughout the show. There was nothing that got me excited, nothing that got me down. It was just 2 hours of just steady wrestling programming on Tuesday night. I don't know if you want to take that as a bad thing or not, but that's kind of how I felt after I got done watching it on Tuesday.
Honestly, I like all the promos and all the backstage stuff more than most of the matches.
Yeah, I thought Grimes's vignettes were great. I thought they rushed DiBiase a little bit, but I think I think they're gonna continue that on. Pete Dunne's promo was excellent.
I like Swerve's promo.
Yeah.
Yep. And Adam Cole's sit down was excellent. So like
everything with the way.
Everything
with the way.
And Frankie is picking up. Like when she first stepped on the mic, it was a little rough. But each week she's
feel more comfortable probably.
Yeah. So but like I said, it wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to get in and talk about this. Like it was just steady Eddie throughout the show.
Other than Phantasma, do you think
I'm sold on them?
I love they got them.
I am sold on all of them.
The way they ended the show is how I was hoping they were going to end Takeover.
Yeah.
I love their
same here.
Yeah, I love their group. Santos Escobar was King Cuerno on Lucha Underground. And he, El Hijo del Fantasma in Mexico, and I was a huge fan of his. What he did prior to coming into NXT, and he's a star. He has, because he can speak as well as he can on the microphone. I feel like he's what they were hoping Andrade would be.
Mm-hmm.
Looks wise, ring work wise, he can go in that, but he has a leg up because he can talk on the microphone in English or Spanish. So, but no, their presentation is fantastic.
Mhm.
Like I said, I have no complaints from NXT Tuesday night. Like I don't wish they would have did anything differently. I got done watching the show and I was like, solid show. like
So presto.
And just like Jason's name today, LA Knight had promo of the week. Man, I love that promo.
He's great. He was on Busted Open last week, and Bully asked him, "Hey, what's the biggest difference you coming, before and coming back now, and what do you see, so on and so forth, and everything else, and one of the things he asked him as well was, with your promos, is that you? And he said, listen, he goes, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for the other talent. He goes, but my stuff in the ring, yes, there's bullet points to hit. He goes, but majority of what you hear come out of my mouth is me. He goes, those little backstage segments as I'm walking to the ring and I'm talking, he goes, that's all off the cuff. That's all me from the top. That's nobody feeding me lines, nothing. He goes, in the ring, yeah, there's bullet points that I have to touch on and get to, but for the most part, it's me talking as myself, as my character. So you knew he was going to crush it on the mic when he came in. Mm-hmm. There was no doubt about it. Like, gift the gab, he can go on the stick. It's just whether or not his ring work would be able to elevate him to where he can reach his full potential as far as NXT or whenever he gets called up, if he does get called up.
Yeah, I'm not sold on his ring work. I was telling Jason earlier in the week, he looks like when John Cena just started getting his ring work together. That's what it looks like to me.
And I don't think he's been in the ring with the best opponents for his wrestling style so far. Mm-hmm. I don't think his style works well with Bronson Reed. I don't think his style works well with Dexter. Mm-hmm. Let him work with some of the other talent on the card before that. But his style is not going to be one that can just plug and play with anybody. No. Like he has to be in there with certain other people in order for it to come off really good. Because, like you said,
a big fan of his in-ring, even in TNA. Mm-hmm. It was more he got you sold by talking, and that was it.
Yeah. So NXT was steady Eddie this week. Raw. I honestly I didn't watch a ton of Raw this week. I really didn't.
I want to see what they do with Humberto.
I like that.
RK Bro.
So RK Bro. So
who do they beat again? Who they beat?
Hey. Oh yeah, that's right. Shelton and Cedric.
And there you go.
RK Bro. It was Randy Orton's. I don't know. It was 420th match is something or whatever. And it was the day. There was a lot of 420 references going on there. So
I find it hard to believe that would be his only 420th match, but especially with James Storm to celebrate his 1,000
on a Monday in April, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. There was a big congratulations sent out to him about it or whatever. But I mean, this is. Who knows what's going to come about it? Mm-hmm. Obviously, Orton sees something in Riddle, or else he wouldn't want to work with him, right? Mm-hmm. And as I said, coming out of WrestleMania, Riddle wasn't supposed to have the U.S. title, but because of Keith Lee stuff, he got the belt, and now they're doing the hard reset, and now they're starting to run with Riddle and do what they wanted to do with him. So where it goes, it goes. Are them two interesting together? Yeah. Will it turn into something? I don't know, but it was a bright spot in a rather dark show. I will say that.
I kind of agree with you there. I'm not gonna wave the flag on this one.
Yeah,
bad.
So,
bad. 3 Braun matches. You know,
it was bad. We're just keeping it bad.
It just doesn't. I don't. And now it's a triple threat, and it's just like Braun's put in so he can take the pin. I don't know, man. It just doesn't work. But hey, they're gonna run with it. Hopefully, after this pay-per-view, we can get a hard reset for Raw and go somewhere else with it.
And you're getting.
I don't like the fact that NXT is, although it's a separate brand, right? I don't like the fact that nothing that transpires on NXT is ever acknowledged on the main roster. How you have Shayna and Rhea just acting like they've never seen each other before, whenever that was one of the best feuds in NXT.
Pull the wool over the eyes,
and it's like, yeah, it just doesn't work. It doesn't help when you see that because there's no continuity. And I'm not saying that you got to rehash every single storyline or bring up every piece of information that happened on NXT between stars, but when it's those two,
they mention it on commentary sometimes, like they have a story history, but it's brief.
But it's brief, and it does but it doesn't say that those two were in a bitter feud for how long. And Rhea dethroned Shayna after Shayna's long title reign. But meanwhile, they're just hunky dory tagging together, and then they're standing tall, raising their belts in the ring. It just doesn't make any sense, dude.
Like I could see on people if they would change their characters from NXT to the main roster, I could kind of see the reset there. But whenever you're the same character, your story started in NXT. Like that's your WWE story. It's not NXT's one story and then WWE's a different chapter.
She's healed now. You don't acknowledge the face Rhea.
That's just like Hogan slamming Andre, all those times before WrestleMania 3. But at WrestleMania 3, that was his first time slamming him.
and the first ladder match was WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
Also, Damian Priest has a 24. Why?
Jason, I'm with you too. Why?
I don't know, but I tweeted
in
out
the comment section, and they were like, "Why?"
I tweeted out. This is how I know Raw was the shits, right? I tweeted out. We went from beer bass and milk bass with Austin and Kurt Angle to throwing tomatoes by Damian Priest. Who the hell wrote that shit? Please fly the flag on that, Jason. That segment was terrible.
They'll be singing regardless.
Throwing cherry tomatoes out of a guitar case or whatever the hell they did there. Like the only part that was good about it was that Morrison got hit in the nuts with one, and they I've seen the slow motion gif of it about 100 times this week.
And that'll happen probably again next week because Vince probably cracked up too,
and then
that's his humor.
The whole Nia with the slipping on the water and then getting back up and falling. Dave LaGreca went on a rant on Busted Open. That is a rant of all rants. If you listen to Busted Open, the LaGreca rants are famous. And he went on one, boy, that was I only caught the 3-minute clip that they put on Twitter. I didn't go back and listen to the show. I have it saved off and marked off in my podcast library to listen to it. But man, he went on a 3-minute rant there that was just whew. And everything he said in it was just true. Like,
look, you can do whatever you want with Nia because I'm over it. You can I don't pay
everybody.
Yeah.
She said the my whole line, and you can't. She now will forever be a comedic wrestler.
Yep.
Regardless of her being funny or not.
But she's not. Yeah, that's the thing. She's not funny.
And I don't think she said that line to be funny. I honestly think it was just a natural reaction from her, and because being in the Thunderdome and microphones and picking up on everything, like you were able to get it, but. Vince will just run with her and have her do stupid comedy shit that she's been doing that, he thinks is hilarious when it's not. Raw's terrible. Terrible.
I put in my notes the absolute worst.
Come on.
I can't give my suspension of belief for 3 hours and sit through and watch Raw. I just can't. And I think I'm going to bow out on Raw. I'll do recaps and watch highlights just because we got to talk about it on here. But from a sitting down viewership standpoint, I'm over Raw until they're able to show that they can consistently put out a decent product. All 3 hours don't got to be a home run. 3 hours is a hell of a time to put stuff on TV. You're going to have shit that don't work in 3 hours or that sucks. That's a given. I'm not asking for that. But you got to try harder than what you've been trying on Raw for the past 6, 8, maybe even 10 months, 12 months.
2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit.
And who's the Raw Tag Team Champs again?
COVID.
I forget.
COVID.
In Nigeria partying.
I forget. I don't even know who they are.
I mean, they haven't referenced them at all.
That's the other thing I don't like about WWE. Like, if they're out because of COVID, and reference it.
Just say it.
Just say it. Everybody knows it's fucking going on. It's a worldwide pandemic. We've been in it for over a year now. Just reference the damn.
Here's the thing: if they say it, you're going to pile on.
Pile on how? Pile on how?
One person catches COVID and y'all shit on WWE.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My thing is that you acknowledged it when Drew McIntyre got COVID because he was your heavyweight champion, right? But other than that, you've never referenced it, even though we all know that you've had outbreaks and people have been off TV because of COVID. And you bring those people back in the case with Charlotte, you bring them back and just act like it never happened, and she was held off at WrestleMania because people wanted to take her spot, and they gave her the shaft.
Can they follow their storyline? Can they play it out how they want to play it out?
It's not good storytelling.
Let it be what it is.
So
He's in Nigeria partying.
So that's what they're going to run with. So whenever they do come back, where you guys been at the last 4 weeks?
In Nigeria partying.
What, did Apollo Crews fly him over on the private plane?
Is AJ coming back as the White Wolf?
SmackDown last night. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did not have a chance to watch SmackDown.
I watched the main event. That was it.
I just watched the main event.
I was watching the NFL draft because I'm a draft nerd, and I watched every single pick of all 3 nights, and I'll watch majority of what I can today just because I'm a draft nerd. So I did not get a chance to watch it. It is DVR'd. I did see, spoiler alert, but I did see Roman retaining on social media. So I do not know how the rest of the show went, how the match went. From what I did see tweet-wise in that, Roman and Bryan was good, which was to be expected because it's Roman and Bryan, especially Roman now. But those two, I don't think are going to go out there and have a stinker of a match. I did see they got about a half. Did they get about a half an hour of the show?
Yeah, Bryan came out about the 20 after 9 mark for his entrance. So
yeah,
I think there was only 4 matches.
There wasn't much.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
I took away from it. Bryan. I'm sorry. Bryan and Dan. Bryan and Roman were basically pay-per-view match. The feel was great. Main event Jay. He got to be my hype man. I mean, I just like his energy so much on anything he does. And Roman's new music, which was pretty.
Oh, Roman had new music.
Mm-hmm.
They debuted new music last night.
New music. I like it.
Just do it on a. I hate this company so much. You had WrestleMania. You could have debuted the music at WrestleMania. Why are you putting it on SmackDown?
Because it sucks. It sucks.
I hate them. The music sucked.
Yeah, it sucks.
You don't like the music?
No.
Who is doing their music?
I don't mind. I don't mind the music.
Who's doing their music now? Because
I don't know.
New shit in NXT has been terrible.
I think that WrestleFlow kid's involved. I don't know if he's the guy.
Bad Bunny will be it soon.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, y'all really here for music?
I don't mind the music.
No, but hey, the theme music is just as important as character work and everything else.
Theme music has been important since rock came.
If Austin doesn't have the glass if Austin doesn't have the glass shattering and
then
it's not Austin.
That's when it was important. Unless you want to sing Judas.
There's been so many.
You want to sing Judas every week?
So I'll sing. I got my Spotify play with my wrestling theme songs that I add in there, and there's not many current. I'll say that.
I don't give a damn about a theme song, man.
You have to, because look at Adam Cole's theme music. Just on Cole. Undisputed Era one fit him perfectly.
You ain't see me like boom. That I ain't give a shit. Come on, wrestle.
I said the music. I didn't say about the boom, the music.
It's part of the music, ain't it?
The music. Not now. Listen, if the music wasn't important, Jay, they wouldn't have entrance themes.
Y'all were the same people that hated Keith Lee's music until they changed it. And
I like Keith Lee's music. I like Keith Lee's music from the beginning. I hate his new stuff. I hate that new stuff now. That's generic Java rock music. That's generic Java music.
Glory.
Asking his glory
like you did. Asking his glory.
It fit him.
You just
I'll be honest. I didn't care about the old one, and I don't care about the new one. So.
Thank you.
All right, I don't have nothing else for wrestling this week. Like I said,
no AEW this week.
I mean,
Donald has notes on notes on notes. That's why.
No, AEW for me was like I said, I didn't watch SmackDown yet, but AEW from start to finish was the best show of the week that I watched.
I didn't like it.
Best show of the week.
I didn't like it.
Give me your highlights.
Highlights from AEW?
Give me your highlights.
I like the parlay. I like the promos cut on the parlay.
Oh, that was terrible. Come on.
What was terrible about it? Tell me. What was terrible about it?
All their promos was just terrible.
How were they terrible?
Too long. Shut the fuck up. This is a situation and go wrestle. Shit.
Spears grabbing the mic should have been a violation right there. As soon as he grabbed the mic, he should have been fired.
Spears was the right person to kick it off. I love that Sammy came in and just sawed the shit out of him.
Oh, I like Sammy's promo.
Basically neutered him on national television.
I love that Sammy brought the cue cards back in one of the commercial breaks. But the only thing I didn't like about it was almost the same exact thing that he said in that promo. It was just like, okay, so you brought it back, but for what reason? Like,
I like the parlay. The main event match between Darby and 10 was really good.
That was good. Too much.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
I like Hangman and Cage in the opener too.
Yes. So before we jump into that, because I know Donald, I got a take on the brawl that he may not like, but Darby and 10 was really good.
Yeah.
Love the Bret Hart callback with the kick off the turnbuckle for the pin.
Yeah.
Especially Darby selling the full Nelson the way that he sold it, and you honestly thought, okay, they're really about to put it on 10 here? Like,
yeah.
They
had me. The last 2 minutes of that match, they had me.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I liked how Darby hooked the legs too in that pin, because I hadn't seen that done before. Pin.
Yeah. So that was done really well. Darby main event in 3 weeks in a row was great. The only thing that I guess here, I'll give you my dislikes more than my likes, because like I said, it was the best show of the week so far. I haven't watched SmackDown, so that's the little asterisk to that comment. The Nightmare Family, the Factory, Cody's return, I could have did without. I didn't like any of that.
Can we stop saying 2 weeks off of TV is a return? Him, Charlotte, anybody out with COVID? I don't care. It's not a return.
Yeah. It was longer than 2 weeks, wasn't it?
But was it more than a month?
Yeah,
I think it was about a month. He had.
Didn't he just like QT like 2 weeks ago?
No,
that was a month ago.
Yeah, he had something with his shoulder. He went in, and I don't know if he got it scoped or cleaned up or whatever, but he had shoulder stuff. So I don't know if it was like giving time off just for rest and rehab, or if he actually went in and got it cleaned out. But he was battling shoulder issues, which is why he was written off for the time that he
I'll agree with that, Jason. It's not a return. That's not long enough to be a return.
And they had bad camera work with him by the bus.
Yeah, they ruined it.
Because the window was open. It was like, why don't you step up a little bit more where the driver was? It was like you saw it before it happened. It was like
I forget who it was. It was either Tony or Excalibur, and they go like,
I was Tony.
Someone's in the bus, and then the other one's just like, that's Cody.
So yeah, I could have did with that without that completely. The Young Bucks match, I like the Young Bucks match. I don't like how they made the referee look stupid. And AEW is guilty of this a lot with their referees, with letting stuff slide that shouldn't slide. The ref saw that Matt was not the legal person, and Matt tried to play it off like he was tagged in and was laying flat on his back or whatever. Like, you're not twins. You're not pulling twin magic. Like, the ref saw all of it and just let Matt continue on wrestling. Like, don't do that. JR is good for calling that shit out, and I think Shivani called it out this time. Like, does the referee just going to let that happen? Like, it's like, hey guys, you're not making the commentator's job easy either, because they're the ones that have to sell that stuff to the audience by talking about it. So
because they're trying to call it like it's legit in a way, So yeah, whenever they're calling it out, it doesn't look good on the ref or the talent in the ring.
Didn't like the way SCU came out and challenged the Young Bucks after just being nowhere. Like, I said before,
watching from the crowd the past few weeks, and that's it.
I said on this pod before, the Young Bucks should be the ones to retire SCU because of their friendship and their history and everything else, and that story could be told. But the way they set it up right now, I didn't like it at all.
That's bad. I don't like it that they called them out because they're number one contenders on the rankings for that. But then next week they have a fatal 4-way with 3 other tag teams for number one contendership.
Yeah,
like hold up. Your number one contenders might got to fight for number one contendership.
I've said it before.
Were they fighting things for number one contendership?
There's Jurassic Express.
No, the other ones. They were fighting today. The
Seidels. The Seidels.
Yeah. What were they fighting for? Contendership.
Seidels were fighting for a title match. If they beat the same thing that Matt did with Kenny. If he beat Kenny, he'd get a future title shot. Well, if they beat the Young Bucks, then they would get a future.
They got a whole bunch of title shots lined up, huh? Just
I said it before, and I'll say it again. AEW has the best position of anybody, of any company, really, right now, being live and everything, where they should be able to tell a story to hype up a pay-per-view and tell these stories long term.
But they're not live either. They're taped.
They're doing 1 week live, 1 week taped. And so it's like you have the potential to build long-term storyline because they're only doing quarterly pay-per-views. And they throw these live events in, like specials, way too close to a pay-per-view. And it just screws up the storytelling to me. And SCU being one of the storylines, like you said, this should have started already. And they should be built. This should already be building up to them retiring them.
Yeah, so I didn't care for that. And then I hated, so I also didn't like it, so that those were my knocks. And then the last knock I had on the show was how the show went off the air. I don't get where this Lance Archer, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, Sting, Darby, like I don't get where it's going, what it's doing, how it involves anybody. Like it's just I don't understand it at all. And I
have been watching Darker Elevation, so I don't know what they're covering on that, but
I just don't. It just I would have rather have had you. I would have rather have went off the air with the parlay.
Yeah,
because Blood and Guts is this Wednesday, so I would have rather have had you go off the air with them talking you into the building with their promos, and then going off the air with the 5 of them standing there face to face with each other, ending it with Jericho's promo, and then going black, and that be the lead into Wednesday. That would have been how I would have booked the ending of the show. But I get it. You're putting Darby there to elevate the title, and you reference they made reference to his championship pace that he wants to set and defend it and everything else. So okay with that.
Save that for a day where he's not main eventing. Let him get his shine right there with the win,
but he
and then let him interfere somewhere else, like earlier in the show or something. Not
3 main events, 3 brawls.
Yeah, it's like it's ever since Darby was defending his title, like for this 5th straight week. All of his matches had some type of interference or afterwards match brawl or something.
No.
Can the man just hold a title up?
Yeah.
And don't give me fake storyline just to give storyline, because it's like Sting and Dark Order, like kind of like having a little beef outside just for having beef because your opponent's in this match. So I don't need that.
I did like how they did the little video package for 10 before the match to get you invested as to why he was put in that spot. I like the Darby the Brody R band being held up by Darby, Reverend Brody Lee. Like I said, there was way more hits than misses. Those were kind of my takeaways. Donald, I know one takeaway from you that you didn't like was the brawl in the opening match with Team Taz coming out to Hangman. And I'll say this, out of all the brawls that they've done, and they do a lot of brawls and run-ins and everything else, right? This one fit the storyline for the match because it was Heyman got beat down before the match and wasn't able to overcome Cage. And the brawl and the beatdown that happened prior to the match could be used as a catalyst as to why he wasn't able to win that match. Because he came in undefeated, the hottest singles wrestler there was, and it took 5 guys beating him down before the match for him to lose the match. So I can see why they told it and did it the way that they did it. And I'm okay with it in that context because it did play into the match. And commentary talked about that too, as being, hey, Heyman wasn't able to overcome the beatdown that he got before the match. So I'm okay with the brawl to open the show because it played into the storyline of the match and what they can tell coming out of the match moving forward.
Since you said that, you convinced me. Yeah, but still, like with AEW, it's like what I count 4 of the 6 matches had some type of interference in it. Like they have to stop.
Yeah, they do. That was the only one that's been recent that actually fit a narrative for a storyline for something to be told. So,
and Cage needed that win way more than Hangman did.
Absolutely, and that's a way that he gets a win, and it doesn't hurt Hangman because he got beat down before the match started. So I'm cool with that. Christian's promo on Taz was good. I enjoyed that as well.
Wipe everything Omega did for the day away.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh God, the Omega stuff was awful.
The Omega stuff was awful. Kingston and Moxley. I didn't mind what they did. I didn't mind what they did. However,
no.
You have all the leverage. You have all the leverage in the world, and you use it to request a match with Omega and Nakazawa.
Yeah.
I told you $1 million.
Yeah, I told Jason that what this weekend. I was like, if I had him in his position, I'd be like, I want $1 million so bad. No, I'll take a Whopper instead.
It's just
Why not ask for a title shot?
Right. Like, oh no, hey, we want a triple threat. Me, Moxley, and Omega. Or hey, we want a shot at the Young Bucks. We want tag team title shot. Like
it's something. No, we want Nakazawa.
Yeah.
So
but that was awful.
Slathered in baby oil.
But at the same time, Impact didn't do shit with him this week either. It's like, Kenny's going to show up, and then he comes out at the very end, and he was banged up. Did you see the way I don't know if you watched Impact or not. I couldn't tell if that was him being banged up or his jeans were too tight.
No. He was banged up because if you watch the way he couldn't even run down the ramp to get into the ring to start the beat down, and then him trying to get out of the ring, he could barely get out of the ring and get down off the apron.
He should have taken the steps out. If he knew that he couldn't get down, just taking the steps. But they were advertising it as a championship celebration on Impact, and they didn't even do that. they act like he's not there, and because that's the perfect thing. If he's banged up, you do this celebration, and then he doesn't have to do anything. Like you're not. I don't know.
Speaking of tight jeans, Coach never dress casual again. Coach should only wear suits. He was just wearing anything other than a suit.
He had to wear that jacket that he's trying to hawk right now.
Oh, that's the one that's on sale.
Yeah, $150, but
is that chalk line prices?
All right, that's it. That's all I got for wrestling. So,
let's drink.
Let's drink.
Chug, 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 chug.
This week's Drink of the Week segment is brought to you by the beer grab / beer tasting that I'm going to after this podcast today that my cousin is hosting.
Oh, nice.
So everybody,
Yeah,
he bought about 10 to 15 beers that he's going to lay out the sample. Everybody's showing up with a 6-pack. They're going to put those out, the samples. You can rate and review. He's handing out notebooks to people to write down comments and stuff. And then on your way out the door, you can grab a mixed match 6-pack of your own based off of everything that's there and brought to the party. So I'm excited to go and do that after this. It'll be outdoors, socially distanced. Everybody will be safe, but it'll be a good time on a beautiful day. So
sounds like it needs to be sponsored by the Dumbarks podcast.
Which I will. Don't worry. The merch will be out in full effect, and I'll be handing out business cards. Absolutely. So, with that being said, this week's beer is.
I got stickers you could hand out.
Yeah.
For the kids.
This week's beer is the Peachy Pilsner, brought to you by Sobel's Obscure Brewery. It is a 7% alcohol by volume beer.
Bring it back.
It says, not outrageously sweet, our Peachy Pilsner is peach infused to give you a refreshing, easy drinking German-style Pilsner with a peachy pop. And it is brewed and bottled in Pittstown, PA. So shout out to PA.
Surprisingly, Chris chose this one.
Oh, this Chris, this is yours? Jay,
no, this is mine.
I will say this, Jay, you're 2 for 2 on picking cans. Let's just hope this beer is better than the Daily Planet one from last week. So
the interesting thing that they classify this one as a malt beverage too. So
yeah. But I'm excited. It's German style, so I'm okay with that, and we'll go ahead and give this one a whirl here. So I definitely smell the peach.
Mm-hmm.
Drinkable.
Shoot, we did so many. I bet we did so many IPAs. I'm looking for hops.
No, I'll rock with this. This is good. I like this. And the more that it's like sitting there aftertaste wise, I get the peach more. You know what I mean? Like you can taste it as you drink it, but it's not overpowering, like they said. But aftertaste wise, and as it's sitting there, you can taste the peach notes on your tongue.
I'm tasting
This is a solid Pilsner. I'm not.
Jason, pass me some of the peach drinks.
You want me to open the bag?
I figured it was already open by you.
Where's that tub?
Yeah, I'm surprised that bag's not gone. But all right, going around the horn, Peachy Pilsner.
Already in the tub.
Yeah.
Remember,
1 to 5 on the fat kit on the drinkable sumo scale back there. What do you guys give the Peachy Pilsner from Sobel's Obscure Brewery in Pittstown, PA?
I'll go 3. I can drink this again.
Donald?
Give it a 3.5. Definitely.
Chris?
Love it.
Yeah. I'm not enough peach for me in this. For me, it's just it's a basic Pilsner. That's what I'm getting the more flavor from. It's not a bad Pilsner, but I'm not getting anything special. I don't think the peach is, for me, it's just not hitting the palate right. So it's a basic Pilsner. I'll go 1.5.
Oh wow, I was not expecting that from you.
You don't like Pilsners, I guess.
I'll keep it. I said it's solid. It's drinkable. I'll rock with a solid 3 for me for that. So, any other final thoughts here before we salute and cheers to get out of here on the Drinking of the Week segment? Short, sweet, to the point. I would buy a 6-pack of it. I'm not going to buy a case of it, but I would buy a 6-pack of it. Is what I'll say. So. All right. No other thoughts from anybody else. So if you're out and you see it, scoop it up. It's worth a buy. And with that being said, raise your cans, bottle, glasses, shots, solo cups, brown paper bags, whatever you're drinking out of. And to good ships and wood ships and ships that sail the seas, the best ships are friendships, and friends will always be. All right, this week in sports this week. Listen, heavy NFL draft stuff. I've been on the draft since Thursday night. Just a couple other notes that I want to run through real quick here, and some other sports based off of some stuff. The Seattle Kraken, which is the new NHL expansion team, which will come into the league next year.
It's official.
It is official. They have signed the dotted line, dotted all the I's, crossed the T's. They are officially now an NHL franchise.
Well, so more importantly, they put up the money.
Yeah. Congratulations to them there. So
now, how many teams does this make it?
Would it be uneven now?
Sure.
I think it's uneven now by 1. So I don't know how they'll work that out conference-wise.
What was the Knights? Wasn't the Knights?
Yeah, I'm not sure if because of the Knights, if that was uneven, or I don't remember offhand.
We're dumb, Mark. So
yeah, we are.
Hey, way to ask the question there. That stumped us all. Good job. The Pirates came out and said that they will be keeping 25% capacity for home games through the month of May.
It doesn't matter what they do.
Hey,
all 4 of us there one day.
4, maybe 3.
They're still floating around the 500 mark. So, listen, if it comes to the middle end of June and they're still at 500, I'll pay attention. But right now, I'll glance in and check in on the standings here and there. But
I know they're not letting you do tailgating right now down there. That's not allowed. But Donald, would you do tailgating? Would you go down there for that?
As long as I'm not paying the parking, because I'm not giving my money to them at all.
Okay. So if we do a Dumb Marks tailgate.
Dumb Marks tailgate. Again, as long as I'm not paying.
From inside the park, you'll be there.
Yeah, okay.
We might have to pull a take in to get him inside the park.
As long as my money's not going to them, it's not going to happen.
I'll buy you a ticket then. We'll get you.
That's not going to happen. That definitely ain't going to happen.
Yeah. I don't.
Steve was not entertained by that.
No. I'm just because we're the Pirates are what they are, and they've completely made me lose my fandom of baseball. But baseball also doesn't help itself in that aspect. Did you see what happened with Madison Bumgarner?
Oh, that is the worst.
Yeah.
I hate baseball.
They changed doubleheaders to 7 innings. It's an official game,
yes,
right? Based on COVID and schedules and trying to fit games in, so on and so forth for this year. But Madison Bumgarner threw a complete game. He pitched all 7 innings without giving a hit against the Braves. I think it was Sunday or Monday. But it's not being recognized as a no-hitter by Major League Baseball.
Because they're making the rule.
Because it wasn't 9 games.
Because it wasn't 9 innings. It was a 7-inning game, which was a part of a doubleheader, which doubleheaders are both 7 innings. It's a fucking doubleheader.
Yeah.
The man pitched all 7 innings, didn't give up a hit. It goes down as an official win in the books. Yeah. It's an official Major League Baseball game. It should be an official no-hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Or
they count rain delays?
They put the asterisk next to
rain delays. No,
they don't count rain delays.
No.
Uh-huh.
No. But
No,
it went from first pitch to last out. That's an
Right.
official game, no matter
Yeah.
how many innings it is. It's official. That's a no-hitter in my book.
If
Yeah,
if MLB is classifying it as an official game, that should be classified as a no hitter.
Yes.
That's why baseball is what it is, and that's
Yeah.
why it's the fourth sport in out of American sports, because they do dumb shit like this regularly year after year that makes you scratch your head and go, you can't get out of your own way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just god awful. I saw
Until they get somebody like in as the commissioner in MLB that is different, nothing's going to change in baseball, because this guy's he was a Bud Selig protege.
Yes, man.
He's just continuing that legacy more and more, and that is not a legacy to continue for baseball.
Yeah, so those are my baseball takes this week. Logan Paul signed on to fight Floyd Mayweather on June 6th. It'll be handled by Floyd Mayweather's promotion and will be shown on Showtime. I'm not paying money to see this bullshit.
No.
It's on Showtime, or it's Showtime boxing pay-per-view?
Showtime boxing pay-per-view.
Okay.
Don't know what they're going to charge for the pay-per-view. But if the freaking Jake Paul Ben Askren generated 75 million, you suckers will pay for anything. You fucking marks. Stop paying into this bullshit, and we won't watch it. I was never a fan of Floyd. Never a fan of Floyd Mayweather. Just never bought in. Didn't, you know what I mean? He ducked the most difficult fights and decided to take them on after those fighters were in their primes. Floyd, for me, I don't like Floyd. Never have, never will. And the fact that you're signing on to do this and people are going to pay $75, $80, $100, whatever the hell they're charging, like, these are all marks, you're suckers, and I won't be giving any money to this at all. But it was announced, it's official, so got to bring it up on the pod. I don't have nothing to say for that.
I have nothing to say. No.
So something that got announced this week that, for us years down the road, if we continue to grow this podcast, and we appreciate you showing up and showing out every single week, especially, all our listeners overseas, as well as the US, India, France, Germany, UK. We love you guys over there. Thanks for tuning in each week. But DraftKings this week announced a $50 million sponsorship deal with the Dan Le Batard Show.
Wow.
And Meadowlark Media, which Dan Le Batard is starting up with his podcasting network. And there's a couple other big name people that are involved in that as well. But $50 million sponsorship. So Pat McAfee's show signed a big sponsorship deal with FanDuel, right? And they promote FanDuel, and FanDuel is the sports betting book that I use. I enjoy FanDuel. To me, it's the best one out there. You can bet wherever you want. I know people that use both FanDuel and DraftKings, so on and so forth. But a $50 million sponsorship, dude, after he told ESPN kick rocks, I'm your most popular show, and you continue to shit on my time slot. You've shortened it over the years. You fired my people. I've kept them on the show and paid them out of my own pocket because they shouldn't have been people that you've let go. You know what? Go kick rocks. We'll go elsewhere. We'll do our own thing. Kudos to him. Shout out. Round of applause. $50 million. Dude,
the money is there.
Let's go. Absolutely. Like I was pumped whenever I saw that news go down. It's just like, and then another big money deal that went down. Conor McGregor. I don't know if you saw this week. He sold his majority stake in his Irish whiskey, Proper Number 12, for a long-term deal upwards of $600 million. Proper Number 12, whiskey-wise, and that was supposed to be like Jameson on that level. It's terrible. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's garbage. But he got $612 or $600 million. In that
man makes money. I'll give him that.
Selling his majority share. So There's that. The Penguins clinched a playoff spot this week. So kudos to the Pens. Hockey Town, as Pat McAfee likes to say, is alive and well, make another run. I don't know if this team has what it takes to win a cup, but they're better than what I thought they were going to be this year.
Yeah.
Given where their stars are at in their career and moves they've made and everything else. But if they can get good goaltending in NHL playoffs, if you have the hot goaltender, you can ride it to the Stanley Cup. We've seen it before with teams that have won it. Mm-hmm. If you can get solid goaltending for this stretch, I think they have a good a chance as anybody that gets into the playoffs, given this crazy year that is sports as we know it. So,
I mean, next Saturday, the 8th, is the last regular season game for the Pens, so we still got a week left of regular season with them. Goaltending's been iffy with them lately. And was it 2 weeks ago they were going into the third period 6-0, and they
won 7-6.
The game ended 7-6. Yeah.
So
I don't have a lot of faith in it. I'm really worried about the first round of the playoffs with them, but we can dive more into that next week after the regular season ends.
Yeah.
But speaking of money, today's a big money day in sports with the Kentucky Derby.
Yes, it is.
So I know Donald has a lot of notes on that. Race time is supposed to be 6:57 tonight.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, the Kentucky Derby is one of my favorite events. I love horse racing. For people who don't know, they plan to have 40 to 50,000 people there today.
That's surprising.
That's insane. Yeah, and the morning line favorite and the current odds favorite is Essential Quality, and he's being trained by Brad Cox, who is a Louisville native. So he's trying to be the first Louisville native ever to win the Kentucky Derby.
Did I see this is the first gray horse that's favored in like 20 years?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Long time. Also, a couple hits on it, too. Kendrick Camachi, he's going to be the first black jockey to mount a horse since 2013. And he's going to try to – and and if he wins, he'll be the first black jockey to win the Kentucky Derby since Jimmy Winkfield in 1901 and 1902. And also trainer Vicky Oliver, she's trying to be the first woman trainer to win with her horse, Hidden Stash. Alongside, she's 51. Yeah. And I find out that the funniest name this year to me with the horses is Soup and Sandwich. Don't know where that came from. And Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, he actually has 4 horses in the race this year for Known Agenda, Sainthood, Dynamic One, and Burbick. That's the one that Mr. Kendrick is mountain.
Okay.
And for me, go ahead.
I was just going to say, CBS Sports this morning, they had Essential Quality. Everybody has that as the favorite.
Yes.
They also have Rock Your World and Known Agenda. That's who they think are going to be the other favorites beside Essential Quality.
Yeah.
A little bit of money.
Well, for me, I have Essential Quality winning because he's the horse that's built balance for all 3 races. I think he's balanced enough for the Kentucky Derby. He's quick enough for the Preakness, and I think he got the long haul for the Belmont.
Belmont.
Yeah, and then I have Melinda Spirit, that's second. That's the place. And for show, I have Hot Rod Charlie winning the third. So those are my picks for the Derby.
There you go. Put down some cash on FanDuel or anywhere else.
You're not going to make a lot of money on Essential Quality. Just
not at all. Like, you're actually losing money on him if you pick him.
But depending on who, like you said, who places and shows with that, if you do a nice trifecta, you could get some money.
Yeah, could get some money out of it. Yeah. So, all right. That's it. That's it from around the world in sports. LeBron James came back last night and played for the Lakers. But this week really was all about the NFL draft. I like I said, I'm a draft nerd. I watch picks 1 through 252 or 255, whatever the final pick is, the 7th round. Thursday night was round 1. Last night was 2 and 3, and then today is 4 through 7. A lot of stuff happened. There was stuff that went down before the draft. Teddy Bridgewater got traded to the Broncos. Draft night itself, there were some trades in the first round that were a little head scratching. Some people had some picks that were a little head scratching. But yeah, it was well worth it. Pat McAfee, I was watching their draft spectacular show, his YouTube show for that night, Thursday night for the draft. He had over 137,000 concurrent viewers on his YouTube show for that at one point in time, which is insane. You know, it just unbelievable. But picks wise, going into it, first round, 5 quarterbacks taken, which was huge. Trey Lance went off the board at number 3. Obviously, everybody kind of pegged in Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson to go 1-2. San Francisco was going to be the ones to kind of drive the rest of the first round as far as picks, depending on where they went. They went with Trey Lance there. A lot of top receivers went off the board early. The Bears moved up, gave a huge haul to the Giants to move up and draft Justin Fields. I was kind of hoping he would have the Aaron Rodgers fall and get to 24, but whenever I saw that Chicago made the trade, I figured they were going up to take him or Mac Jones, and they chose him. Mac Jones, somebody tweeted out with a gif of him walking up to the podium. He looked like a superintendent going into a school cafeteria to break up a lunch fight. He goes to the Patriots at 15. The Raiders continue to just suck as an organization when it comes to drafting. They picked Alex Leatherwood in the first round, which not saying he's a bad player, but you could have got him in the second or third round based off of projections and mock drafts. But that's what the Raiders do. They overreach on people in the first round because they want to go get their guys that they fit or character guys that fit their system, whatever the case may be. The Bengals, I don't know how you don't draft the tackle to protect
the Bengals.
To protect Burrow. Like, he's a franchise quarterback. The dude's a baller. And granted, Jamar Chase is going to be a stud, like absolute stud in the pros. But if he don't have nobody throwing him the ball, it's not going to matter. So, and you had Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Shout out Tyler Boyd, Clarion product, Pittsburgh native. They both had over 1,000 yards last year. So it's like, what, did you absolutely need to go out and get him with that pick? So
I like the meme that had with the Simpsons character Ralph on there as Joe Burrow was like, oh yeah, my second ACL saying I'm in danger.
Yeah. Steelers, they selected Najee Harris in the first round, pick 24 overall. That was a lot of fan favorite as far as who the fans predicted and wanted the Steelers to take. Second round, they drafted Pat Fairmouth, which is AKA Baby Gronk is the name given to him, Penn State tight end. A lot of projections had him as either the number 1 or 2 tight end on the board. Little surprising that they went tight end round 2. I know that they liked him a lot, but their offensive line needed a lot of work. And I know people were complaining. The linemen that were on the board when they selected, somebody put out a tweet. You could have went Tevin Jenkins in the first round, Creed Humphreys in the second round, and Trey Sermon in the third round, based on how the picks went as your trio for Steelers picks, compared to Najee Harris, Pat Fairmouth, and Kendrick Green, who they got in the third round, the offensive guard center out of Illinois. Which trio would you want to take as a Steeler fan? So, I mean, they got Dotson in the fourth round last year, but you're not going to hit on fourth round starters all the time. You can't rely on that. And it's just, listen, Najee Harris is him and Fairmouth are both quote unquote Steeler players as far as their character, their makeup, what they are off the field, on the field, for whatever you want to take that to be, right? People buy into that or not. Najee has a great story. Thursday draft day, he held a pizza party and a draft party at the homeless shelter that he lived in for a while growing up. So he's huge as far as working in the community with battling poverty and homelessness. One of the first things he said once he touched down in Pittsburgh and it was, what's the poverty rate here? What's the homeless rate here? And how can I help? And character-wise, you're not going to find a better character as far as individual goes than him in the draft. He drove 6 or 8 hours to Alabama's pro day from Dallas whenever his flight got canceled, and he wasn't even working out at the pro day. He just showed up to be there to support his teammates that were. So he's a top-notch character guy. It's just at 24, given all your other holes, was that necessarily the best pick? Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. Fantasy-wise, they already project him to be a top 15 running back fantasy-wise from the moment he was drafted. So I don't know. Maybe the Steelers front office watched a different offensive line than everybody else did last year and is higher on the players that we have than what was available. But we'll see what they do today, picks 4 through 7. I don't know. What are your guys' takes on how the draft shook out so far? And I will say this, fucking Cleveland. I don't like this new organization that they have because they're actually drafting smartly and taking players that are really good, and their picks so far have been solid, and it's like added into everything that they added in the offseason. They're looking to take another step forward. Whether it works out or not, who knows? But they definitely have the talent there to be a legitimate contender and somebody that you should be worried about. But it's the Browns, so I'll wait and see on that end of things. But anything else stick out from draft-wise for you guys? Picks-wise, anybody there?
Until I see it on the field, I don't believe anything. That's the truth.
Look, I mean,
that goes everybody.
Yeah, part of the magic that makes the draft so great is that you can pound your chest for who you want to see the team take and everything else, but realistically, you don't know if a draft class is a success until 3-4 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So the Steelers today have 2 number 4s, a 6, and 2 7s. So they have five picks remaining. They had 8 coming in. We'll see if they make any moves.
All corners.
I mean, you definitely need another edge. You definitely need a corner. You could probably look at getting another offensive tackle. I'm sure they'll draft some wide receiver at some point.
We'll get a linebacker in here, I'm sure.
Linebacker. But a lot of people that I saw mock to them throughout the 7 rounds so far, as rounds through 3, a lot of those players in those slots have already been off the board. So you don't know who they have ranked where, whatever. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out for them moving forward. But just a way to kick off the NFL season and get ready to go here moving forward. So with that being said, I don't have anything else for me for this week in sports. Anybody got anything else?
Just Kim Mulkey left Baylor to go back to LSU.
I did see that. She had a hell of a press conference.
Mm-hmm.
She went in there and she looked up at the rafters, and it was like Final Four, conference championship, Final Four. She goes, I don't see no national championship banners here, and that's why I came back home to win national championships.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll strap up the boots. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be an interesting play there, because she really did build up Baylor into a national program that was, up there. Not saying she was up there on UConn's level, but Baylor was talked about just as much as UConn was. You go back to like Brittany Griner and that. So like, yeah, I like the move for LSU. We'll see what it does moving forward here. So anybody got anything else in sports before we jump over in the one gotta go?
I'm good.
All right, let's get into it. All right, the world famous, world renowned one gotta go. Hopefully this week you are full of shit, Jason. First off, we haven't had 16 one gotta goes for you to get 16 times. So you're already in line right there. And second off,
that's a WWE counting.
Hopefully this week we get some more disagreement than what we have. We've had clean sweeps 2 weeks in a row here, which hasn't generated a whole lot of buzz as far as the one gotta go topic. So I don't know what we got planned for today's episode, but let's get into it because I'm ready to tell you the Gins were wrong and I was right.
So with the draft being this weekend, I thought we'd go into football movies.
The list is already wrong.
So we got Remember the Titans, The Replacements, Any Given Sunday, and The Waterboy. This is not going to be the only football list we're going to have. There's going to be a lot more. I start going, Steve, after you found that list the other day of sports movies.
Yeah, that was completely trash that ESPN put out. Like,
yeah, I think I got like, I started like going through sports movies. We could have a whole series of this the rest of the summer.
Football alone.
Yeah, football alone. I don't know. I mean, none of these are really similar. I mean, I guess you can say the Replacements and the Waterboy are similar from a comedic standpoint. Any Given Sunday is not as dramatic as Remember the Titans. So I don't know, genre wise, they're not all the same. I guess it's just really personal preference as far as this one goes, as far as which one you would want to see off the list. I don't know, man. I really don't. Like, I guess I'll go with the Waterboy. I'll get rid of the Waterboy from this list. And that's only because I give a slight edge to Willie Beeman instead of, the Waterboy himself. I just think the Waterboy, as far as like the Adam Sandler movies that were hot at that time, it's not as good as, Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. And that, I know it's on that same similar basis, but I'll go with the Waterboy off the list for me.
Remember the Titans is staying on every list across the board. Sports, football, movies in general. Love the Replacements. I think I can remember more of Any Given Sunday than the Waterboy, and I kind of have Adam Sandler fatigue, so Waterboy's going off the list. Bobby Boucher, sorry.
Bobby Boucher. Mama said your answer is wrong, Donald. So whatever one you give, Mama said it was wrong.
I'll go next. We'll go down the line. Remember the Titans, yeah. Out of any of these movies, I've seen all of them, watched multiple times. The ones I probably watched the most are Remember the Titans, The Replacements, and Waterboy. And just for that reason alone, I'm going to take Any Given Sunday off the list.
Any Given Sunday, fun. Donald, before you give your take, funny. Not funny, but one-off story about Any Given Sunday. So I took a debate course in class in college, and one of the assignments, leading up to the debate at the end of the semester was we had to give a speech. It had to be a 1 to 2 minute speech from any movie that we wanted to do. And I picked Al Pacino's locker room speech from Any Given Sunday and got up there and rattled that off. So yeah, that was my Any Given Sunday story. But that movie's most memorable for Willie Beeman and then that Pacino speech in the locker room at halftime.
Remember the Titans is not going anywhere. Just like Jason said, that is actually my number 2 movie of all time. I don't care what anybody say. If you don't like it, kiss my ass.
Coming on for no reason.
Yeah. Any Given Sunday, I'm not all about the pro stuff, all like that, but the drama in the movie made it so good. So that's staying. Replacements and Waterboy, they are 2 comedy movies. I've seen them both. The Waterboy has stupid humor. The movie's overrated. I'm tired of Adam Sandler. Waterboy got to go. I hate that movie.
I know you want to throw an off-chain footstep Falcon.
Nah.
Or Clifford Franklin.
The Replacements had more drama than the Waterboy.
Ole, 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 ole.
I mean, the Replacements probably on YouTube or USA right now.
Yeah, Replacements Replacements is that movie that like when it's a rainy Sunday day in September, you can just turn on TNT and lay on the couch, watch Replacements, doze off for 30-40 minutes, wake up and the movie's still on, and you can pick right back up where it was.
Exactly.
I like the deaf tight end in there, and I like the prison guy. That's my two favorites.
You got me thinking of more movies. There's just so many. Yeah.
That list ESPN put out for sports movies.
That was trash.
And it was what's the greatest sports movie of all time? And it was.
But I think they just put.
This is my page of every shit I just started writing down.
That's why all football movies.
Well, football movies didn't go so many different ways.
So many football and baseball. I got probably as many baseball as I do football on that list.
Yeah, you gotta break it down in the categories and that, because like I said, with those four there, it was like you can't really compare them because they're different. Remember the Titans, like you said.
I was doing family, I was doing kids, I was doing comedies, I was doing serious. Like there's so many movies.
Yeah,
Airbud.
Yeah,
we're not putting Airbud on any goddamn list.
Airbud, I gotta go just out of Airbud movies.
Yeah, all 1, 2, 3, and 4 can all go for Airbud. They shouldn't even never have made them damn movies. All right, that's it for One Gotta Go. Reach out to us on social media. Let us know which one you kick off the list there. Pretty standard. I think most people will probably go Waterboy or Replacements, given that list is what my initial take would be looking at it. So,
and don't forget to buy the One Gotta Go t-shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com/DumbMarksPod,
where you can vote out which dumb mark you want to see go, and it would be the one right below me.
Oh no! Hey, everybody just mad because the truth hurts people. That's all what it is. That's all they hate. Truth hurts, boy.
Jason, your 16-time OGG champion right there is like Woody Page from Around the Horn saying he has 196 Around the Horn titles. That's what you want. Well, come on, next week and it'll be like Goldberg streak. You'll be up to 95-0.
Or it'll be the EC3 that 482-0 streak.
You'll never know. Tune in next week.
All right, get into final thoughts. Wrap up this week's show.
All right, kids, thanks for tuning in to episode 35 of the Dumb Marks podcast. Remember that we are live every Saturday at 11 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So please subscribe, like, and follow our social media pages at Dumb Marks Pod. Message us during the shows while you watch live, or email us at dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. Our audio-only edition of the podcast is released every Monday to listen on demand on all your favorite podcast platforms. As we mentioned in One Gotta Go, if you haven't heard, our official Dumb Marks merch is now available to purchase on Pro Wrestling Tees. Visit ProWrestlingTees.com/DumbMarksPod. Before we get into any final thoughts and the quote of the week, at the end of our intro segment, we did have someone mention what was the best moment of Falcon and the Winter Soldiers for us? Does anybody have like one moment that defined? I know Steve, you kind of talked about the ending.
I think for me, the best moment, or I guess I don't want to say best moment, but the most impactful moment for me was when Sam and Isaiah are sitting there in Isaiah's house and Isaiah is breaking down everything that happened to him in comparison to how Steve Rogers was handled and based off of. And it just, like I said, it just hit so many social issues for the time today. And it's just so prevalent for what's going on. With everything else in the world. So that segment there, or that part there with them two sitting down, and then like I said, the very ending when they're walking Isaiah through the museum and his statues there with his story being told so that everybody will know who he is, with his grandson there who in the comics becomes the young part of the Young Avengers. Those were the ones that got me the most.
For me, it'd have to be when Sam and Carly first talked. I think it was around episode 3 or 4. Yeah, because you're actually digging into the mind of the quote unquote villain to see what her thoughts and everything were about. I'm always interested in those moments with the villains, to get into their head to see what's happening with them. And I thought that was impactful.
The final speech was impactful. But I'm gonna say when they were coming for Zemo, the Wakanda ladies, and they just like wiped out John Walker and all of them, just like being not super soldiers or nothing, just training them on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hit with the
Yeah.
That whole fight was dope to me.
I really liked the scene in the last episode, and I just kind of felt like it wasn't a whole lot. It was just impactful for and I guess in a way words can matter. Of they're watching the new Captain America, save the truck, and the one guy in the audience goes, "That's the Black Falcon right there, I'll tell you." And the young guy next to him goes, "No, that's Captain America."
Right.
You guys know, like the reference that people are going to be like, "No, this is Captain America now." I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Shout out. Thanks for tuning in. Keep them coming over. We'll prop you up, shout out, and answer what we can as we go through the show. Final thoughts for me, wrapping around just based off of stuff that we talked on that we touched on. So with Randy Orton with the 420 thing that I referenced on Bell to Bell, he did on Raw this past week. He tied Chris Jericho for second most career Raw TV matches with the S420. So that was the
Raw.
case.
Okay.
Just on Raw. So
Made up stats.
yeah, MLW will debut on Vice today, May 1st. So if you want to check out,
wasn't that noon?
Yes, I believe so. Noon. So yeah, they will be in the noon time slot. That's what it was. So I know it's past, but that would have been helpful to lead off, give the show. But look out for them, each week at noon on Vice for them there, and then it's Nick Saban going into the draft from This Week in Sports. Before the draft Thursday night, Nick Saban had 33 first-round picks compared to 23 losses. So he's had more first-round draft picks than he has losses. And that numbers only went up. I believe there were 4 Alabama players taken in the first round. 4 or 5. And then Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's plans on making a run in and rushing the ring at the Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather mega fight. Whether or not he does it, if he does it, I will lose my shit if he does it, because that'll be fantastic. But he came out and said he plans on doing that there.
Let him be there just so you can tease it, even if it doesn't happen. Just let him be there.
Yeah. Oh, and then also in sports, the NHL and Turner Sports announced a 7-year media rights agreement that will have regular season Stanley Cup playoff and Stanley Cup final games televised on TNT and TBS starting next season. So NBC is out of the NHL business. It'll be USA, TNT, TBS, and I believe HBO Max will be getting some.
Not USA.
It'll be
USA is not NBC.
ESPN.
Projecting AEW to move to Fridays.
No, USA is going to have games. That's why NXT moved to Tuesday nights.
USA's was part of the NBC deal. That's NBC property. That was part of it. They were planning on doing it for NBC games. So now it's going to be ESPN, Disney property, and Turner
TBS,
property
TNT.
having it. Yeah, so yeah, it is TNT, TBS, and HBO Max, like you said. Those are the ones that will be part of that. Which means for like Stanley Cup playoffs and finals, ESPN and Turner will go back and forth each year on that. Like they'll kind of shuffle it around a little bit.
For the whole series, or are they splitting games? Did they
during the series? I think like the playoff series, they'll shuffle it, and then for like Stanley Cup and like playoff championships, ESPN will get it 1 year, Turner will get it the next year, and then
So like the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Different.
so however long, I think it's 3 or 4 years each is their contract, so it'll alternate for those years in the contracts.
Okay, there you go.
It's big money. I mean, NHL did. I was really surprised to see NBC not put up the money. But
Did we ever speak on the dark side of football for Vice?
No.
My brother told me there's I reluctantly make him watch wrestling. That's the only time we talk wrestling. But he said there's because he watches the dark side of the ring documentaries. He's saying there's a dark side of football coming. It's May 13th.
Oh, interesting.
On what? On Vice? On Vice? No, I haven't heard anything about that. That'll be that'll be really interesting. Because
is that a full series or is that just like a one-off episode?
Not sure. I'm gonna have to look more into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the NFL normally does a good job of keeping that stuff from getting out. They don't want that genie out of that bottle. So I'm surprised that's getting the go aheads. I mean, you saw that with ESPN whenever they had to show Playmakers. They got Playmakers canceled. They got Playmakers canceled because of how realistic Playmakers was.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering.
That was
good show, though.
Oh, was a good show.
I'm wondering if it's like NFL or just football in general. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah.
Something to look into. So, all right. I don't have nothing else this week. Anybody got anything else before we wrap it up?
Let's do it.
All right. So, shout out everybody again for watching in, tuning in. We love you guys. Thanks for supporting the show. Reach out to us. More interactive you guys are with us, the more interactive we can be with you guys. And as always, like to leave you with a little quote for the week. This one I got this from Talib Kweli. Happiness is the new rich. Inner peace is the new success. Health is the new wealth. Kindness is the new cool. And until next time, I'm a Mark, you're a Mark, tell a Mark. Y'all can catch us around the way.